everyone. Welcome to episode 6 of Vitamins, presented by St. Luke's. I'm Adam Webster, and I'm not here with Fab Krislovich. He's on a long road trip. He's played in Perth lately. He's played in Sydney lately. He's been all around Australia, and he's had a lot of tough games. But I'm here with a very special guest. So we'll start to talk about, firstly, why this podcast is called Vitamins. Vitamins is a part of the Jack Jumpers' DNA. It's something that they use for practice. It's something they use in preparation for games, and it ties in really nicely to St. Luke's, our key sponsor. They want Tasmania to be the healthiest island on the planet. So the Jack Jumpers champion daily vitamins, and vitamins are not the traditional pills that you might take as supplements, but they're actually the actions that you take every day to get better. This is a bonus episode because we just had to have today's guest on Vitamins when she was in the state. Alanna Smith is one of Australia's, let alone Tasmania's, finest basketball exports. It was inevitable that she'd play at a high level, some would say, from the outside looking in, having grown up with her father and uncle and as Australian and state representatives, and growing up to 6'3", which obviously made basketball a lot easier. She's a 2-time Olympic opal and now a bronze medalist and named to the All-Star 5 for the Olympic tournament. She also represented the Minnesota Lynx in the recent WNBA Championship games, going to Game 5. I'm not going to ask about the foul though, so we'll keep that brief. But Alanna Smith, welcome to Tassie. And welcome to Vitamins.
Thank you very much for having me. It's great to be home.
What is it like being home? What is it like coming home and seeing basketball kind of grow in this state? Every time you kind of come back, it's a little bit bigger than it was before.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the last time I was in Tassie, the Jackies won a championship. So it's just been really, really cool to see basketball kind of explode on the scene down here in Tassie, and the support that's being gathered behind it too. I'm just really keen to see how much further it can go. Hopefully we get a women's team down here.
So I hear.
That would be really cool. But yeah, it's just really, really cool to see, the state getting around basketball as a whole.
And when you're in Tassie, what do you do? Where do you go? Do you have any favourite spots?
I kind of go into hiding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm a big homebody when I come home because I spend a lot of my time away from the family. So It's really nice just to get quality family time in.
Home cooking as well.
Yeah, for sure. I get to see my little sister, Andy. She's 16 now. She plays too. So I go and watch her games.
Doesn't just play, represents Tasmania, by the way.
Yes. She's on a very exciting trajectory.
Yep.
So I try and go and watch her. You might spot me at Swisher every now and then.
With the mural?
Yes.
The huge mural of you up there.
Well, if you go to Swisher, you'll see me because I'm on a wall.
You definitely will. You might see twice though.
Yeah. But most of the time I'm chilling with the fam.
Awesome. So in the absence of Fab, I'm going to do the starting 5 with you. 5 questions to get to know you and your basketball journey. Firstly, what are some memories of your childhood?
From the very early days, I remember just living in a basketball stadium, watching Dad play. Early on, it was Sydney, and then we went to Melbourne, and it was the Titans. But yeah, I just remember running amok in those back rooms at the basketball stadium.
Getting into trouble.
Definitely,
Going to places you shouldn't be, all that.
Yep. Sure.
That's pretty fun though. You'd be rubbing shoulders with a lot of NBL stars from that point in time.
Yeah, I see them out and about sometimes. I'm like, hey, I remember you. Yep. And they always see me and they're like, I haven't seen you since you were this big. Yep. It's a fun little network that we have.
Now, you played soccer growing up as well as basketball, right? But when did your career as a professional athlete sort of become a reality for you?
Yeah, I actually started playing basketball at the club level pretty late, to be honest. I think I was like 13. Yep. I remember very vividly my first basketball practice that I ever did. And I walked in and I was late. And everyone was doing 2-ball dribbling, and Dad had taken me, and he turned to me and I had tears streaming down my face, and I was like, Dad, I can't even dribble 1 ball and they're out here doing 2. And that was my first experience with club basketball.
It's a memorable one. Yeah. It's not necessarily a positive one, but it's a memorable one.
No. So the professional side of things wasn't on my mind probably till I was about like 17 maybe. And I'd improved a lot and it became more of a reality.
For those that have just recently been following your WNBA and Opals career, where has professional basketball taken you across the world in tournaments, in club play, and what were some of your favourite places?
Yeah, I've been really lucky to have experienced a lot of the world because because of basketball. I mean, I played in Turkey last year. The year before that, I was in Poland. I've been in America since 2015. I have done a lot of Europe. I'm just about to go to China. I've played in South Korea. So I've been all over the place. But I had an amazing time in Poland, and I spent a lot of time in Germany as well because I was kind of on the border. And I think Turkey too was awesome. I was living in Istanbul, which is a great city. Yep. Really, really cool. But yeah, I'm just really grateful to have been able to live and immerse myself in different cultures. Like I found it just awesome to be able to experience that and learn new things and meet new people that I wouldn't necessarily meet while being in Australia.
And got one hell of an education, might I add, at Stanford as well. 4 years there. How was that?
It was awesome. Like I remember sitting in class. I took a statistics class, I think my second year, and Katie Ledecky would sit in front of me every statistics class. And
great.
Thank you, Katie Ledecky. You helped me pass statistics.
Nice.
But it was kind of like that. Every class you took, there was someone that's creating an app or someone that invented something really cool or an amazing sports person. Like you're just surrounded by greatness on the daily, which was awesome.
Amazing. Who have been some of the most influential people in your career? And
one of those would have to be my dad, to be honest. He kind of had belief in me from very, very early on. Back to the days when I couldn't dribble basketballs. He's always been kind of my number one motivator in terms of chasing the dream. Like he's always kind of helped me realize that it's attainable. Been like my personal coach from day one too. I'll always get a call from him after games telling me what I did wrong. No, I'm just kidding. But no, he's really helped me get to where I am today for sure.
It's important to have that sort of guiding rod in your life, right?
Yeah, definitely. Having someone that's your support system or a family that supports you in your endeavors, I think is really important.
Finally, what is your why? Big question.
That's deep. I think for me, like basketball has always been a passion. That's why I do it, because I'm really, really passionate about it. But I also think it's helped me create this platform and have access to resources and people that I wouldn't have had access to prior. And it's helped me not just on the sports side of things, but just as a holistic thing. Like I've been able to put my time and effort into things through basketball. Like when I was at Stanford, I got really involved in anti-sex trafficking organisation, and it was eye-opening and something that I only discovered because our commentator ran the organisation.
Wow.
Yeah. And I got really heavily involved in that. And I've just realised, like, yes, I play basketball, but there is more to life than basketball. And basketball's kind of been the vehicle helping me explore that too.
Feels like you get a lot of perspective working in that sort of charitable work with what you do every day as well.
Yeah, definitely. It helps take the spotlight off of yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's something that I really try to do, because playing a professional sport, you're thinking about yourself a lot and what you're doing and how you're performing, and that can be really overwhelming at times. And so being able to step outside of yourself and focus on others is really fulfilling and lowers your stress and the pressure that you feel that comes with professional sports. And it's also, I think, really important to give back to your community too. So being able to do that, I think, is important.
You've had a huge year. It's been massive. I don't want to talk about the foul. I'm specifically not going to ask you about the foul.
Thank you.
But congratulations on making the WNBA finals with the Minnesota Lynx. How was your season, that experience? You really were able to consolidate your talent, make a leap, and show everyone what you were made of this season.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like a fairy tale season, to be honest. Being a part of a team that was built on really, really good values and built up of just really, really good people too, made the entire experience so enjoyable. It's the most fun I've ever had playing on a team before. Yeah, this season. And then the fact that we were able to get to the finals and push it to a game 5 too. It was, like I said, a fairy tale. You were named the WNBA second defensive team along that journey as well. That must have been an important accolade. Yeah, I think I always think back to like 2 years ago when I wasn't even in the league. I'd been cut from the Fever, and 2 years later I'm making an all WNBA team. It seems pretty crazy, but I think it's just like a testament to, my hard work and a lot of the hard work that people have put into me to help me get to where I am today. And it's nice to be recognized for sure.
So we talk about vitamins a lot on this show, about how you get better. The jack jumpers obviously have a few key things that they do each practice to get better. How does that extend to what you do and in your DNA and your preparation, either on the court or off the court?
I think for me, just throughout my career, persistence has been like the main theme. Despite all the setbacks and, the hard times, I think just persisting and sticking with the hard work and the grind, it gets you to where you want to go. And like I said, there might be setbacks, there could be hard times, but stick to working hard and you know who you are, then you'll eventually get to where you want to go.
You did one thing that you wanted to do for quite some time. You won an Olympic medal over this year. Congratulations. Yeah. Brilliant effort by all the Opals. You talk about perseverance. Nigeria, that game. I want to take you back. It was a performance that you guys can't have been happy with as a team, but it allowed you to catapult to a bronze medal. How do you keep the faith with what you grew as Opals, and how does that bring itself into a bronze medal performance?
Yeah, I think when you start off your tournament with a really tough game like that, it's a really, really quick reality check. I think, that game for us, if it had have come later in the tournament, we wouldn't have had the same outcome. So to be kind of hit in the mouth straight away was probably good for us, to be honest. I know a loss is never something that you want, but looking back on it, I think it really kicked us into gear. Like, hey, we know that we can be better than this and we're here to win a medal. And that obviously wasn't the right thing and wouldn't have got us to the bronze. And I think, like I said, it was a bit of a kick in the butt and really kicked us into gear.
I mean, you've got many front court mates in that Opals team, brilliant players. Ezzy Magbegor was one of them. She was named to an all-defensive team on the Olympics, as were you. How is it playing with Ezzy in that sort of dynamic defensive front court? Because it seemed like for you were sort of a picture of consistency across that tournament. Ezzy struggled at times, but came through in that bronze medal game in such a massive way.
Yeah, Ezzy's a fantastic teammate, first and foremost. Like, just a great human, super fun to be around, super fun to play with. And then just her skill and ability on the court is like second to none. Like, she's just so athletic and her timing's amazing. Like, she's just in the right place at the right time pretty much every time. And yeah, just shout out to her for persevering. Like you said, she had a tough time early on, but she came through when we needed her in that last game and set a record for efficiency, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, despite having a bit of a rough trot at it to start, she finished super strong and we wouldn't have got that bronze without her.
Someone else I want to ask you about as the captain of that team. There's been a lot made of the cultural shift in the Opals over the last 4-year cycle between Tokyo and Paris, or 3 years with COVID in there as well. There was a lot of turmoil and roster turnover and a rethink about what the Opals stood for. And Tess obviously led that for you guys. What was she like as a leader? She's now retired from international play, which is a loss for Australia, but at the same time capped off a brilliant career, and she lit it up as well. Like, from outside in particular, she came on the court in the Olympics and was just deadly from three.
Yeah, I'm devastated she's retired. Yeah. I've loved playing with Tess, and it wasn't for a very long time, to be honest, but like the time that I had with her as a captain too just had a massive impact on me, as I know it did for the rest of the team. She just led with so much authenticity and she was so approachable that you could just go to her with anything, and she led just with love, I think. Like, she just wanted the best for all of us, and we were really, really lucky to have someone like Tess kind of captaining the ship for us.
How did you go about changing that culture and setting that culture? Because you guys were every bit as a part of that as the coaches and the support staff. You really defined what you wanted the culture of the Opals to be, and we can relate that back to the Jackies, right? They've got a very clear culture, a very clear focus. But how did the Opals approach it?
I think it just takes buy-in, to be honest. Yep. And it takes buy-in from every single person. We had an outline of what we wanted it to look like and how it should be, but the only way that you can really achieve that is if each person personally decides that they're going to do it. It took, a couple years probably to get everybody on the same page and everybody to really, really buy into what we wanted our culture to look like. And a lot of accountability too. Like, everyone kind of had to check themselves or be checked by our leaders. And I think it turned out to be obviously a really, really good thing for us and the culture of the Opals, and building on that legacy that was already there. And hopefully that culture sticks and stays true for a long time.
What were some of the things that you could perhaps share about what that culture is and how you sort of came to realise how you wanted to play, how you wanted to act on and off the court in preparation, and how to hold each other accountable at every level?
Yeah, I think I touched on one thing. Accountability was a really, really big piece. Being able to give and receive feedback was a big part of it. I think also professionalism was a major part, and that was not only from the players but from coaches and staff as well. It starts from the top and it trickles down. Being professional on all levels. I would say those are the two major ones that we really, really worked on that I think had the biggest impact.
Can you put any through lines between the Opals and your Lynx experience in terms of the culture of those two teams? You just said the Lynx was the most fun you've ever had on a basketball court. I'm always interested in what makes winning teams and what you can associate with winning. I spoke to Kayla George earlier in the year, and she mentioned that it's about role acceptance and, being enthusiastic and giving your best regardless of your role. Is it as simple as that, or are there some more sort of traits that you can identify?
No, definitely. I think every team is unique in terms of just the players on the floor. So how you build a team has a big impact on what happens out on the court. And I think our management did a really good job of building our team this year, just with, like Kayla said, with roles and filling those roles. And I think they were really focusing on character and the types of people they were going after. So they brought in people that they wanted to fill certain roles, and those people were very willing to do it without any complaints, which is very rare for a professional basketball team, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Very, very rare. And that's why it was so much fun, because no one was complaining, no one was pissed off. Everyone was just happy that we were winning. We just had the best time together. And when we lost, it sucked, but we knew that we'd be able to pick it up and keep going. And I think that kind of showed in that finals series where we had 2 losses in a row, and one more loss would have been the end of it. And we rallied together and, got that win to push it to a game 5. And I think it was just because we were all speaking in the locker room, we don't want this to end. I don't want to leave you guys. This is great. I'm having an awesome time. Yeah, you don't find that often on professional teams, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. The WNBA was, exploded this season. I want to ask from a player's perspective, what was that like? What did you feel differently? This is not your first season in the WNBA, so you can kind of look at the before Caitlin era and the after Caitlin era is somewhat, even though, it's not one player, it's a collection of talent. And I think the huge silver lining to Caitlin Clark getting all those eyes on the sport is that everyone now knows the tremendous talent across the board of the competition. But from your perspective, how did your career and life and experience in the WNBA change over that time?
Yeah, I think when you talk about Caitlin Clark and the impact that she's had on the league, you said it, I think it brought a lot of eyes and a lot of opinions too, which we had. I mean, we had a little bit of that for the WNBA previously, but I think it opened it up to a larger population. And so I think one of the biggest differences that I felt during this season was that I had way more opinions about me than I'd ever had before.
Social media, hey?
Yes, and people analysing my game or betting went crazy this season. It's been a big part of the
bubbling
WNBA.
Away for many years, right?
But this season it blew up. So I was often getting messages from bettors because I messed up their multis. Apologies to all the bettors out there.
You don't need to apologise to anyone. Who cares if your multi was messed up?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't tell you to take the risk.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
But yeah, I think with more exposure, giving your fans more access, basically, which comes with good and bad things. But I think ultimately it's great for the sport. I think women's sports is really taking off right now, and it's a super exciting thing to be a part of.
There's a real gratitude you can feel when the WNBA players talk about that and, how the sport's evolving. I imagine there's a tough side to that too in trying to reconcile not hearing many opinions about your play with all of a sudden now getting a lot more? Once again, Kayla George was really open about not being able to enjoy the moment of being selected for the Olympics team because she was just hit with a barrage of why were you selected on social media, which is harrowing to think about. How did you handle that criticism and how are you able to sort of process it and let it wash over you?
A lot of the way I deal with it is that I just don't look at it.
Yep.
Like sometimes it's impossible not to, but I try not to expose myself to that stuff because at the end of the day, they're fleeting opinions. They watch one game and base my whole worth as a basketball player off of one game.
Yep.
And I've been through the ringer in terms of my career. I've been cut from teams saying that I'm not good enough, that I'll never make it. Like I've probably had some of the worst. So anything anyone says to me doesn't really matter. Like I know who I am and what player I am. And I think it kind of all accumulated in this year, just with the year that I had personally, but also the teams that I played on. I don't even believe it. Like I just can't believe it. And so when people say stuff, I don't respond, but I kind of want to and just be like, does that make you feel good?
Yeah. Congratulations. You've got an opinion. Yeah.
But everyone's entitled to an opinion.
Of course.
That's sports.
Yeah.
Like people watch and they love to comment and I'm the more the merrier, I guess.
Where does that maturity and persistence come from? Now, we'll talk to your dad later about that and I'm sure he'll have an answer as well. But where does that come from in you? Because not everyone has that sort of perspective and self-awareness and ability to be able to process that information.
Yeah, I mean, it's come from a lot of practice and growing over the years. Like you asked me that question 5 years ago and it would have been a different answer for sure. And like I said, my personal experiences as well have kind of built some resilience and self-confidence too. It forced me to fuel that for myself. So I think it's just been time and experience. Probably.
Now we're going to bring your dad into the conversation, which is going to be fun because you just mentioned him in starting five. So we'll talk to your dad, Darren, next on Vitamins.
Imagine a place built to make everyone healthier. Visit a St. Luke's Wellness Hub to learn, explore, and be inspired. Just another way St. Luke's is helping to make Tasmania the healthiest island on the planet.
Welcome back to Vitamins, presented by St. Luke's. Adam Webster here, no Fab Krisovich, and now I'm joined by two people with the last name of Smith. Firstly, Alanna Smith, welcome back, and also Darren Smith, Chief Operating Officer of the Tasmania Jack Jumpers, and your dad, Alanna. So welcome to both of you.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Darren, you were just shouted out by your daughter as her the most influential person in her career. That's very high praise for someone who's won a bronze medal, made a Olympic All-Star 5, made a WNBA All-Defensive Team. How proud are you right now?
It's been an incredible year for her, and as parents, you're always proud of your children, but when they achieve something like what the year she's had, particularly like in the game that I love as well, it's really fulfilling for us as a family. So really proud.
At the same time, how nice is it to have her home?
Always good to have her home. It's really becoming rarer and rarer to have that happen. So we make the most of it and enjoy it. The glimpses that we get, we really enjoy it.
I don't think they enjoy the extra loads of washing, though.
I would enjoy I'd enjoy it if she cleaned up after herself a little bit more too, but we'll take that.
I've got a 7-year-old daughter, so what you're saying is that doesn't change.
No,
got that to look forward to. Yeah, okay, cool. All right. I want to ask you about earliest memories and this sport that you both love. What are your earliest memories for both of you of playing this sport, being introduced to it, and seeing, Darren, for you, seeing your daughter fall in love with it as you did?
Yeah, I mean, I think Alanna was describing before about how she grew up, as a very, very young, kind of following me in my career while I was playing. So, I remember literally taking her on the plane with me as a baby on road trips and giving her to some family so we visit family interstate and things like that. So literally, going on road trips and in change rooms and in gyms and wherever. So her life right from the start was surrounded by it. So it's no surprise that that she feels comfortable in the environment and has done well. Watching her growing up, she was always long and athletic, and then she kind of found her way into basketball eventually. And I think by about the age of 15, I thought we've got potentially got something special on our hands here. So, really invested a lot of time in trying to pass on the knowledge that I had to try and help speed things up with her. And it seemed to work pretty well.
Alanna, what are your earliest memories of playing basketball with your dad and learning from him?
Yeah, I mean, like Dad said, I kind of spent a lot of time as a kid watching him and also my uncle too, his brother. But I think some of the ones that are locked in place and will be for a long time is waking up at 6 a.m. a couple mornings a week. Was it 2 or 3 mornings a week? I don't know. And going to Nunawading Stadium at 6 o'clock in the morning in that little ice box and just putting in extra work because Lord knows I needed it. But yeah, Dad just like taking out the time out of his day to do indies with me before school. Yeah, those ones will stick with me for a long time.
You went to Paris, Darren.
I did go to Paris.
How was that?
We took the whole family to Paris. We had a Smith kind of convention in Paris, and we all attended the games. And when Alanna was selected for Tokyo, we had planned to go there, but with COVID, we got locked out of it. So I think this was the first opportunity to really see her play at that level in some time. So we were really excited and keen to be a part of it and watch her perform. And just delighted that we could all make it there and witness what the Opals did. It was it was fantastic for us as well.
Alanna, did you find your family much, or was it hard to sort of juggle being an Opal with, hi, thanks for coming?
I mean, I tried to. I really did, because it kind of was smack bang in the middle of the WNBA season.
Yeah.
And so I hadn't seen these guys for a while. I think it'd been probably close to 5 months, 6 months. So the chance to at least get brief moments with them was really important to me. But I'd also just started my honours like a week before going to Paris. So I was pretty slammed with work and juggling, studying as well as preparing for games and also trying to see the family. So yeah, probably not the best idea by me starting study right before the Olympics, but we made it work. Yeah, we made it work.
Sure did. Darren, you also went to the WNBA finals. So you've had some jet setting this 12 months.
Yeah, it's been a bit of travel this year, but all for really good reasons. Yep. When you're kids are involved at things at that level, you kind of potentially once in a lifetime opportunity, so you don't want to miss them. So I was lucky that the Jack Jumpers allowed me to disappear for a week to go over to New York and Brooklyn and watch the start of the WNBA finals. So I got to the first couple of games, and it was unbelievable. Particularly those 2 games. So to see your kid kind of playing at that level and doing so well, and it's so fulfilling for us as the family as well. Like we're kind of riding every bruise and bump that you get, and disappointment and exhilaration, and it's a roller coaster of emotions, but one we've really enjoyed being on. And
last one before I get into feeling fab, WNBL team. There was an announcement very recently, and I'll start with you, that Tasmania is getting a WNBL team, or at least put a bid in for a WNBL team. How excited are you at the prospect of not necessarily playing? You've got a long career overseas ahead of you and in the WNBA, but eventually being involved in the WNBL and particularly WNBL in Tassie.
Yeah, I think it's really, really exciting, not only just for the WNBL, but for Tasmania and specifically young girls in Tassie too, being able to have access to a WNBL team and WNBL players, I think is going to be huge for those young girls who are looking to advance in the sport, and that pathway is really going to be improved for them too. I remember I grew up in Melbourne and played a lot of my juniors in Melbourne, and there was a few WNBL teams that I had access to and players that put time and effort with me, and it helped me so much. So the prospect of that for young Tasmanian basketball players, I think, is so cool, and I'm really, really keen for Tasmania and the basketball scene.
Darren, as the father of 2 young female ballers, what would it mean for Tasmania to get a WNBL team and provide people like your daughters the access to be able to see it and be it eventually?
I've got a really similar sentiment to Alanna and what you just said too. If you can see it, then you've got, maybe more of an ability to be it. So I think having those role models around, if we're lucky enough to get the team, will mean a lot to young women that are playing our sport, and hopefully attract more young women to play the sport. I think, there's been a huge legacy of very, very strong female participation and very good players coming out of Tasmania for some time. But now, hopefully, they'll get to be able to stay home and play in front of their family and friends friends, which they haven't been able to do in the past. So for us, that's really exciting. Having the daughters growing, I mean, how good would it be for me if I could get one or two of them to play here and go to spend a lot more time with them and see them perform at that level would be super exciting.
Let's get it done. Let's get a WNBL team in Tasmania. Absolutely. We'll move on to feeling fab minus fab. So quick fire questions for you guys. Alanna, I'll let you go first, and then Darren, coffee order.
I get a latte. Pretty simple.
I get latte, but I get the biggest option possible.
Right, okay.
A bowl, if possible.
Fuel. Yep.
Bucket of latte I've known to order.
First car.
My first car was a Holden Vectra.
That's a rare one.
Don't ask me anything more about it. I don't know.
Did you buy the Holden Vectra at the time?
I remember that vehicle because I bought it, and it didn't last too long.
Okay.
It may have been written off soon after that.
Oh, dear.
But anyway, we won't go into the detail of that.
Well, we will apparently. What was your first car?
My first car, I think, was a Ford Cortina, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Nice.
Dodgy.
There's a theme developing.
Yeah.
Mine was a Mitsubishi Lancer. It was very, very simple, very vanilla. Early bird or night owl?
I'm a night owl,
You're
for
night owl?
sure.
Okay.
I cannot function in the mornings.
Is that because you play at night? Do
It
you think
might
that's-
be. Yeah, it might be. Like, I get this thing in the mornings where I can't use my hands.
That
like to
seems like
call
a
it-
problem.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I've coined it morning hands because
Okay.
I can't do anything in the mornings with my hands. So
Do you drop stuff? Like,
yeah,
is that
I can't even type
Okay.
on my phone. It's actually
Right.
maybe I should talk to someone about that.
Morning
But
hands.
yeah, definitely a night owl.
I don't know where to go after that.
I don't know about morning hands. It's not something that's been passed on, but
Okay, cool. Good.
I
hereditary.
prefer nights than early morning, that's for sure.
Favorite city in the world?
I think we've got the same favorite city, Amsterdam.
Amsterdam's a great city. Yeah, we've been there a few times. First time I went there when I was quite young, but then Alanna played there in a junior world championship. So we get to spend a little bit of time there together. And my wife's got some Dutch heritage as well. So we've been back to Holland a few times. So Amsterdam is just a beautiful, stunning city that we've got some sort of ties to that we've enjoyed.
Best advice someone has given you, basketball or life advice?
I remember someone, I can't say who this quote has come from, but I came across it early on, and it was a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. So just knowing that you learn a lot of lessons from the tough times.
That's pretty good.
I think I said that. No, probably wasn't me. I remember, my dad used to always say to me, if you're going to do a job, do it right. So, just put the effort in to do it correctly the first time.
Favorite jersey you've ever worn?
Ooh, I would probably say this recent Olympics, that Opals jersey for sure. I think just the meaning behind it and what happened when we wore those jerseys, the story behind it personally for me too, and how I got this. I think that one has a lot of meaning. My favorite looking jersey, not that one, probably probably the Lynx. We had a blue jersey this season, which was really, really cool, and it had this animal print on it, and it was really sick.
First time the word sick's been used on this podcast in context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the sickest uniform I ever had, I probably just reflect to the team that I enjoyed playing with the most and the uniform with that. And that was probably the Hobart Devils when I played. It was my first couple of years as a professional. And, and it's so cool now, the jack jumpers, those throwback.
I was there, Darren. I was there.
Well, you know what I'm talking about. And those throwback jerseys now just take me back in time to that, such a fun time. And it really, so that uniform for me was pretty special.
How do you spend an off day?
I probably sleep in till about 11. Avoid the morning hands.
Yep. Now that we know you suffer from that, then avoid it at all costs.
If I wake up in the afternoon, it doesn't exist.
Fine.
So no, I do actually like to sleep in on my off days, and then I like to get outside, whether it's going to a cafe or just for a walk. These days I'm doing a lot of schoolwork, so right now it just consists of studying. Yeah, just doing things that I like. I like to read. I like to be outside. I like to eat good food with my friends. So just stuff to decompress usually.
Nice.
Off day activities usually around the family. So whether I'm running around with Andy, taking her to her basketball stuff or whatever we're doing, but we also we live near the beach. So getting on the beach, take the dog for a walk, just trying to slow down a little bit is good.
Favorite phone app?
I'm a sucker for X. I can't.
Some doom scrolling?
Oh, I can't help it. There's something wrong with me, I think. But yeah.
Ew.
the perfect daughter response.
I'm an Instagram girly. I love Instagram.
What are you reading, watching, or listening to?
Right now I'm reading just a lot of papers, to be honest, like research papers I'm studying psychology, so I'm learning how to read people's minds. What about you?
I'm actually actively looking for a new series to watch. So I'd take on, some advice if anyone's got some series that are worth watching. I've kind of gone off Netflix and stuff for a while, but I'm kind of trying to get re-engaged, and so I need something kind of worthwhile to dig my teeth into.
We need to probably go into what are your favourite.
I'm a true crime nut, so I love the true crime genre.
Use in the comments.
Give me something.
Last one. What's one thing you do to stay healthy? Either of you.
First. I got to think about
it. I try to get to the gym a couple of times a week. So that's my vitamins would. If we're talking about the vitamins and what we do daily, I try to get to the gym a little bit every week, but then get outside. I definitely try to spend a little bit of time outside every day, whether it's walking the dog or whatever, but at least some time, wandering around.
I would say I touched on this earlier. One thing that I do to stay healthy, I think mental health is a really, really important part of just you as a person. And so the way that I kind of try and stay on top of my mental health is by pouring myself into other people and giving back to the community. And I touched on it earlier, but I think it's like a really, really big part of keeping me healthy as a whole.
Well, that is about it. That's about it for this episode of Vitamins presented by St. Luke's. Alanna Smith, we wish you all the very best of luck with the Minnesota Lynx and in China later this year. And thank you so much for being a part of the show. And Darren, to you too, thank you.
No worries. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure. We'll follow the Jack Jumpers social channels, as well as you can follow Alanna, obviously, on Instagram, not X, definitely to stay up to date. A huge thanks once again to our friends at St. Luke's who want to make Tasmania the healthiest island on the planet. Stay glued to Jack Jumpers socials, and we'll see you again next time on Vitamins.